focus today on a little bit on the hips. In our daily life, we hold a lot of tension in the hips, and I think also especially women, because we think we have to have a flat belly, and so what happens, we're pushing the abs in, and then the back becomes very flat. So if you're working solely on your abs, you're going to really flatten your back, which is not always a good thing, because your pubic bone is going to lift, and then you're stretching out in the lower back, which is going to, after a while, become painful. So it's finding that balance between tucking the tail and lifting the pubic bone. So if you just want to stand up for a moment, place one hand on your belly and the other hand on your sacrum, so towards the tailbone, and just lift the pubic bone and then lift the tailbone, so that tilting in the hips. This is something you can do on the floor as well, but I just want us to become aware of how we can move there. And you don't want to use too much force, too much muscle force when you do this. You just want to lift gently, and maybe you feel, as you're lifting your tailbone, maybe you feel a compression in the lower back. So probably you go a little bit too far. And when you go really up with your pubic bone, you will notice that your shoulders are falling forward, your chest is closing, and it's really difficult here to bring the shoulders back and have the head in line. So my knees are also bent when I do this. So it's find that place in between the two. So it's something that you can just explore on your own. So then I want us to go to the floor. If you have a bolster or a blanket, put it there. And we're going to start with the bolster of the blanket in the length of the mat. And we'll just stay there for a couple of breaths, just to naturally open the hips. So bring the lower back against your support, and then slowly go back, lay all the way down. So you don't want it to press too much into your lower back, but you don't want to be too far away. So maybe if you're using blankets, this might be too high. If you're using a bolster that's still firm, mine is a little bit soft. So if the bolster is too firm, take a pillow or something, and then place your feet together and open the knees. So for the moment, we're not going to put any support under the knees. Usually if we stay very long, I would put a support under the knees, but for now, I just want the hips to gently open. So you don't want to come to a place where there is pain. So what I was saying is that we're holding a lot of tension into the hips, which is quite normal because they keep us balanced. They keep us straight up, they make us move. Like all the muscles that connect with the hips are actually what make us move. So take a breath in, and as you exhale, just drop the knees. So dropping the knees means consciously letting go into the hips. So if this doesn't feel good, if you have sciatica, then just come back up and stay up with your knees. So we're going to work around that. And maybe observe if you're holding. Am I holding? Am I really like, is my bum all tight, or can I just let go? So 4 more breaths here. Every exhale, release a little bit more. And then place your hands on the outside of your thighs. And with your hands, you're going to close your legs. And then place your hands down, place your elbows down, and then gently come up. So you can take the support away. So if this was too much for you and you want to do this as more a relaxing pose, you can always put the bolster under your knees. Not under your knees, under your thighs, and then have this construction as your support. This is really gentle. I would then put a blanket underneath my back just to have a little bit more comfort. Okay, So from here, we're gonna open the legs. So we're warming up, so don't go too far. Open the legs. If this is hurting in your hamstring, if this is already too much for you, then just gently bend your knees. If you have something to put under the knees, something soft, it's always a good idea. Otherwise, you're holding into the legs. So place your hands in the back. The fingertips are to the back. And then roll the shoulders back, lift your chest. And we want to, again, find that tilt in our hips. So now the pubic bone is really pressing down and the tailbone is pressing up, but you don't want to go into too much of a curve back. It's gently curved further than your neutral spine because we're opening the chest. We're doing a slight back bend. Your toes are pointing up. Your legs are strong. Inhale, exhale. If you want to have a little bit more sensation on your inner thighs, so to find that stretch, you can walk your hands closer to your hips or even bring the hands to the front. But watch out for these big muscles in our legs. We use them all the time. So if you overstretch, overdo it, it's going to take a while to heal. So you want to go with your breath, inhaling, exhaling. So very, very gently, maybe every exhale you go down 1 millimeter, only you will notice. If you would do this in front of TV for 10, 15 minutes, you probably will be more than 1 millimeter lower. So these are muscles that stretch very easily, the quads, the inner thighs, the hamstrings, but they also tighten very easily. Tighten in a good way, strengthening. And then place your hands on the floor if you are there, and then slowly start to drop your head, round your spine. No sensations in the lower back, so be very mindful of that. And then slowly pressing up. Bring the feet together, like again in butterfly, like we were doing before. And I gently roll from one cheek to the other. So the distance between your knees is not moving, it's not changing, but we're giving a little massage here. We'll move a little bit more in a while, but for now, so stretch out your right leg and then bring the left foot very close to your groin. So your right leg is very, very straight. Your left knee, if it doesn't touch the floor, so if it's like floating up somewhere, support it, because otherwise, again, you're going to be holding here and there is no relaxation possible. So one side can be very different than the other. So let's inhale, reach the arms up, interlace your hands and turn the palms up. So we're really finding that stretch. We're sitting down and just observe again for a moment. Are you more sitting on the right sitting bones or on the left sitting bones? Maybe you're more on the right, which is quite normal because the left knee is bent. So no adjustment, is just an observation. Take a deep breath and then make sure you're facing your right toes. So you might have to twist just a little bit towards that right leg and then exhale with a straight back. So bending from the hip crease, from where there is this le pli. So you don't want to start to round. The goal is not to go kiss your toes. The intention is to just move with a straight back, continue to stretch those arms. If this is too much for your arms, if that's taking all your attention away from the stretch and the straight back, then just place your hands down. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, go a little bit more down. You might feel a stretch on the left side of your lower back. That's okay. It's a gentle twist. So, and then walk your hands back. And then again, inhale, reach your arms up. This time, keep your palms facing towards each other. Exhale. So imagine you're at your tailbone, and from your tailbone, you're turning towards your bent knee. Your right hand comes on your left thigh, so on the outside of your left thigh. And then inhale again so that you can lengthen out. Exhale, place the left hand behind your spine. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Drop, the left shoulder. So the back shoulders is rolling back and down. You don't want it to be tickling your ear. If you want, you can look back. See if you can get a little bit further with every exhale. So here, the torsion is mainly happening into your belly. The chest remains nice and open. So quite a lot of strength that's been used here. And then slowly coming back to center and lift your left knee, lengthen your left leg, bring your right foot in and it's really close and then open up. So for me, this side is far away from the floor, so I'm going to put a block underneath. So find again the sitting bones. You want to really tilt so that you can access the hip crease. If I'm falling back, then I can't access the hip crease. If you have issues to tilt, take a blanket or a small pillow. The bolster is too thick, but I just want to show. Sit on the edge and then glide gently forward, not to the floor, but just so that you feel that your spine is lifting up. And then reach your arms up, palms facing each other. And now we're going to turn the palms towards the front. So you feel the movement in your shoulders, in your shoulder blades. So this time, no tickling of the ears, so really dropping the shoulder blades towards the hips. Lengthen out. Inhale. And then exhale, move forward, straight back. Reach out. If you need to, bring the hands down. So open the chest, maybe go a little bit deeper. Maybe you observe differences, one side to the other. That's okay. Just observe, don't question too much. If you arrive at the spot where there is pain, just back off. So find that edge where the discomfort ends and the pain begins. But discomfort in general is okay. Just to know for you how far you go with discomfort. And it can vary every single day. One more exhale. And then inhale, reach your arms up again. So palms are facing up. And then turn towards the right. So from your tailbone, place the left hand on the outer right thigh, right hand in the back. Inhale, lengthen, roll the right shoulder back and down. Keep that left leg very, very active. It's working as well in this pose. And next inhale, coming back up. And exhale, bring it down. Lift your right knee, extend your right leg. Your feet are a little bit wider apart. Place your hands in the back and just shake your legs a little bit. So we're gonna go and open the shoulders a little bit, and it's also working the hips. So place your fingers to the back. So your hands are behind your shoulders, your knees are bent. And then we're gonna slowly walk, so roll the shoulders back and walk your bum closer towards your heels. You should feel a nice stretch into the shoulders. And then walk back, bring your hips back. Turn the hands so that the fingers are pointing forward. And we're gonna do the same thing. So your elbows can bend in this position. So be mindful of the movements. So your elbows can bend here. We're not sinking, we're just stretching places we rarely stretch, and then coming back. Keeping the hands where they are, we're gonna go into reverse tabletop. So press your feet down, press your hands down, and then lift your hips up. You can keep your neck in line with your spine. You can look forward, don't drop your head. So press into your feet, lift a little bit higher. See if you can roll your shoulders back. So this is giving a stretch in the front of the shoulders. If we do a lot of downward dogs or front lifting, we rarely open the shoulders this way, and a lot of injuries happen, especially with yoga teachers who only do like vinyasa and they're pushing, 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 and never stretching. And then coming down. So we're going to turn around, come onto hands and knees. But for a moment, you probably want to just shake out your wrists. So warming up the hips again. Separate your knees. So come a little bit behind onto your mat. And also, if you have 2 blocks, place them somewhere close. We're not going to use them now, but we'll use them in a minute. So separate your hands as wide as your mat, your knees as wide as your mat. And this time your big toes are touching. And then press yourself back. So find the length into the spine. Press your fingers into the mat. Roll the shoulders out. And see if you can sink between your legs. Keep the head in line with the spine. And then coming back up. This time, your feet are behind your knees. And you're going to bring the hands a little bit more to the front and then come back. So it's a different opening into the hips. Maybe you don't go that far. Maybe you're totally on the floor. And then coming back up. You're going to stretch out the right leg, stretch out the left leg, and we're in a plank. So press into your hands, press the heels back, tailbone goes towards the heels. Activate the core. Activate the lower back as well. So the core can be active, super active. So then your tailbone, your pubic bone is going to lift towards your belly. So that's not what we want to do. We want to really have the core active and keep the hips quite neutral. And then press into your hands and lift up into downward dog. So if you need to take a break for your wrist, go into child's pose for a couple of breaths, shake out your wrist. If you're in downward dog, first of all, bend both knees, lift your hips up, press into your hands, roll the shoulders out. So we're widening the upper back, but keep on pressing the thumb and the index into the floor. So this is always part of downward dog, keeping the spine long and neutral. And then now bring your attention to your pubic bone and the distance towards your belly. So with the knees bent, observe that distance and then start to stretch out your legs. What happens? If your pubic bone is coming towards your belly, it means that your hamstrings are a little bit too tight. So you're going to keep your knees bent then. So full expression of the downward dog. The intention is one day straight legs and heels towards the floor, but intentions are always good because they have no expiry date. Where a goal, usually when we set a goal, we set a date, and then when we miss, we're very frustrated. So walk your dog gently. If your wrists are hurting, you can do this on a chair with your forearms on the chair. And then come back into your full downward dog. Take a deep breath in. Feel the energy from your hands towards your hips as you inhale. And then as you exhale, from your hips down to your heels. Let's lift the right leg up, bend the right knee, and open up the hips towards the right side. Press your heel down, your left heel. So feeling the opening, feeling the neutral spine. So often we're going too far, our belly is going to come forward, we're curving in the lower back. We don't want to do that. We want to keep our spine long. Lift your right leg up, and then bring the right foot between your hands, left knee down. And then come up. So inhale, exhale, release into the hips. So we don't want to push down. We just want to let go, releasing into the hips. Roll the shoulders back. So if you're stable, bring the hands into the back. Interlace your hands. So keep your elbows bent for now so that you can really roll the shoulders back, opening the chest, and then start to lengthen your arms, opening the chest, letting go into that front, into that left hip, feeling the groin area opening up. So we're opening, we're stretching the psoas here. Really important if you have issues with sciatica to keep the psoas alive and kicking and flexible. You can start to back bend a little bit if you want to, but don't forget the focus on this pose is to open in the left groin. And then release. Place your hands down. If you need to have a little bit more height, you can take a block and place your hand under it. And now bend your left knee. Grab your left foot with your right hand. So if that's too far, you can grab your pants. Or if that's all too far, take a strap around your foot, which might be a little bit more difficult if you're alone. So if you don't want to, or you don't reach that foot, go like this. Just be aware that by doing without any pulling, we're actually strengthening the hamstring and not so much stretching the quadriceps. So from here, lengthen your spine. So always creating that long line. If your knees are hurting, don't forget to put a padding underneath. And then start to exhale and maybe bring the heel a little bit closer to your bum. Don't forget, big muscle in the front, so don't overstretch it. So are we working on the hips? Yes, we are, because all these muscles connect with the hips. So that's what makes the hips do what they do. And then release. If you have a block, put it on the side, place both your hands down, lift your back knee, and come back into your downward dog. So first of all, bend your knees, lengthen the spine, and then walk your dog. And then find the full expression of your dog. This is eventually becoming home. Some have a hard time envisioning this, but it took me several years, but it's a wonderful pose because it's a lot about stretching and strengthening and being aware. And it's an inversion, so it's very calming for the mind. And now we're gonna lift the left leg, bend the left knee and open the hips again. So press equally into both your hands, open the hips. Your right heel might be coming closer to the floor now. Big stretch in the calf muscle. 2 more breaths here, opening the hips. Maybe you can go a little bit further. Again, no sensations in the lower back here. And then lift your left leg up and bring the left foot in between your hands. So if your foot doesn't reach all the way forward, place your foot down, grab your ankle, and then bring it forward. Drop the right knee. And then come up, find your balance. So if you're not balanced here, you are gonna hold into those muscles. So we won't be able to release. So I'll just show you what you can do if you have something in front of you. Whether it's a chair, sofa, even the wall could do it. So you could just be here with your hands onto the chair so that you can really let go. Otherwise, hands onto the thigh. So with every exhale, letting go a little bit more. And then adding the arms if you want to, this time rising your arms up. If you want to interlace, just watch out if you interlace your hands at the top that your shoulders don't close off. So open the armpits towards the front and then inhale and exhale. The focus remains on opening in the groin area. Three more breaths here. And then exhale, bring the hands down. Again, if you need to place the block underneath to have a little bit more hold, and then lift your right knee, grab your foot. I often get cramps in my hamstrings when I do on one side, this side. So I'm very mindful how quickly I'm moving. So the cramp is what they say the cramps are when the structure and the muscles are not aligned. So when I move too quickly, I'm moving my bones, but my muscles are not really following. So I don't know if that's true, but here for me it makes sense. So again, gently pulling your heel towards your bum or finding the adjustment that works for you, feeling that opening in the quadriceps. So if you're lifting your hip, or if you're moving your bum towards your heel, you will feel less of a stretch. So it's really, we're continuing to open in the groin area and just adding the quadriceps here. And then release, put a block to the side, place the hands down and come back into your downward dog. So what I wanted to say about downward dog with a chair, which is better for the wrist, or you can even do that on the counter. You can place your hands onto just at the edge of the chair and then press back. You're gonna feel a good stretch in the legs. You're gonna have an inversion if your chair is low enough, and you're gonna find length into your spine. So there's always an adjustment possible for every pose. Now bring the big toes together. We're gonna come into our plank and we're gonna go into side plank. So the full side plank, you're gonna turn onto the outside of your left foot. Your left shoulder and left wrist are aligned. And then you're gonna lift up your arm, lift up your hips, press your hips forward. If this is too much, you're gonna drop your left knee in line with your left hand and then bring your left foot all the way out. So off your mat, and the right foot comes in line with your left knee and left hand. And then you can reach up from here. And especially here, pay attention that you press your hips forward, lift the hips up, or here it's more the chest, and you can maybe lift your right leg, flexing the toes. So whatever works for you here, we're working the oblique muscles. Press into your supporting arm, lift your hips up a little bit more, make sure that you're not a banana. And then coming back. And then let's go to the other side. So choose the variation that works for you. If you need a bit more stability in the full expression, you can bring your top foot at the front of your supported leg. And then lifting up. And then coming down, coming onto your knees and sitting back. So if you feel that your muscles are shaking when you're doing these things, maybe you want to back off a little bit. It's not a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing for your muscles, but it's not such a good thing for your nervous system. So just close your eyes for a moment. Take a few breaths in and a few breaths out. And then bring your hands back to the front. Tuck the toes, coming back into our downward dog. This time, walk your hands towards your feet, but we're gonna keep our legs straight. So your back is gonna start to round. Keeping the legs straight, push the heels into the floor. So you should feel a long stretch into your legs, no strain into your lower back. So if the lower back starts to hurt, you're gonna bend your knees. And then exhale, letting go. Bend your knees and lengthen your spine. Your belly is onto your thighs. If your fingers are on the floor, you can pull yourself forward. So with the fingertips, pull the mat back so that your chest is opening up a little bit more. Maybe sit a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper. And then press into your feet and inhale, come all the way up. And exhale. Okay, so I'm gonna put the chair out of my way. So coming into Tadasana, so standing pose, and just observe for a moment how your body feels. Like we've done quite a lot of leg work and some strengthening in the arms. So just observing how the body feels. Gonna inhale, reach the right arm up, pull the left arm down, roll the right shoulder back and down. And then inhale, lift the whole chest up. So you should feel it lifting from your hips. Your legs are strong. And then exhale, go towards the left. So finding opening on the right side, reach your right arm over, make it as straight as you can. And then slowly start to move the right shoulder forward and down. So we want to open the upper back here, reaching far with your right hand. You can look down with your head. Your neck is just following what your spine is doing. And then coming back. And this time reverse. So bring the right shoulder back, showing the chest to the ceiling. Reach your right arm back, far away, finding that stretch. And then coming back and release. Inhale, lift the left arm up, right arm goes down. Inhale, lengthen the whole body, but your feet are solidly planted, your kneecaps are lifted, your legs are strong, so it's really creating space to grow a little bit more. Your left shoulder is back and down. With your next exhale, start to go over towards the right. So the weight into your legs, into your feet remain the same. Inhale, exhale. And then this time, left shoulder comes forward and slightly down, reaching that left arm away from your shoulder, and then inhaling back up, and then opening up the chest towards the ceiling, reaching that arm away. Maybe you can look up to the ceiling. It's a very subtle movement. And then coming back and then release. Whew. Now move a little bit your hips and your lower back. At least that's what I need to do. A couple of moving with the hips. So you can just move with your feet closed. Or if you want to do bigger, you separate your feet, just moving a little bit. And so again, this tilting in the hips comes handy here to do some salsa moves. Okay, so continuing with the hip opener and the balance. If your balance is not there because it's Monday, you might want to use the wall. So if you use the wall, you place your bum and your shoulders against the wall. Your feet are a good foot away from the wall, that when you glide down, you can really find that support. If you're not using the wall, your feet are a little bit wider than your hips, hands onto your hips, bend your knee, bring the weight into the right leg. So before you move any further, lift your left heel, your left toes are still on the floor. You want to find that strength, so you don't want to collapse. You don't want to collapse. Often we forget that if we collapse, there is even more weight onto our leg. So we're going to have to work more and balance will be less. So lift your leg, open your hip, open your knee, flex your foot to protect the knee. So it's the place above my ankle that's above my knee. So it's not bone to bone. And then from here, start to bend your supporting leg a little bit more. Shoulders still above the hips. Start to bend a little bit more. If you're against the wall, you can bring your hands, your fingertips against the wall here. And if you're not against the wall, keep your hands into your hip crease, at least for the first movement, so that you feel that as you start to bend forward with a straight back, you're bending from the hip crease. And then you can bring your hands in front of your heart. If you need the stability of the wall, you can keep your bum against the wall. We're going to go a little bit deeper, maybe. The spine is still straight meaning neutral. Feeling that opening, the deeper you go. If you want to go further, release your hands and maybe bring the fingertips onto the floor. You're going to hook your toes from your left foot around your right biceps, and your left knee is behind your left bicep. And then it's a little dare, like daring to move your weight forward onto your hands. Look forward, otherwise your head is too heavy and you're going to fall down. Move forward, maybe lift the back heel, but keep the focus on the balance and opening into the hips. So maybe you're still here, maybe you're still straight up. Wherever you are, that's fine. If you don't want to bring your hands down, you can hug your left lower leg. So right elbow, right inner elbow around your around your left foot, left elbow, left inner elbow around your left knee, and then hug it here. And then very slowly press into your leg, come all the way back up, bring your foot down and shake it out. So lots of work into the hip here. It's both a strengthening, a holding, and a stretching. So being very conscious that the rest of the body has to remain as strong as possible, but cannot really have our attention all the time. So that's why it's important to, when you're standing in line, always pay attention to your posture. If you're always standing in something very close to a mountain pose, your body remembers. And so when you do poses like this, automatically your body will go into these poses. So we're gonna go to the other side. So weight into your left leg or the other leg, depending. Hands onto the hips. This is just to avoid your arms to be flying around. Lift your heel, bend your supporting leg a little bit. So by bending, we activate the muscles, bringing a little bit more stability. Lift the leg, open the knee, open the hip. One side can be very different than the other in strength, in opening, but also in balance. Flex your right foot. And then start to bend your supporting leg a little bit more. Inhale, exhale. Again, if you want to move further, hands in front of your heart, or if you want to make sure that you're bending from the hip crease, keep your fingers into the hip crease for a moment, and then bring the hands down. So choose here. You can bring your arms down. You're gonna maybe have to bend your knees a little bit, your knee a little bit more to reach there, or you can hug your right under leg. And then maybe lengthen your spine as you're holding onto your leg. So this is I really like this one. It keeps me balanced and it keeps me opening and focused. And then slowly with control and elegance coming out and shake it out. Okay. So move it out. So we're gonna move a little bit more with a flow now because flow is good. So coming to the front of the mat. So you wanna remain conscious with every move that you're making. You wanna more focus on the flow for the moment. So yes, you're gonna feel stretches, you're gonna feel maybe the strength, but stay with your breath so that you can really move with the flow. And if this is all very scary and overwhelming, just move as you want to move. Come to the front of the mat. Take a breath in and a breath out. And I'm very conscious we worked a lot with the legs, so you might be a little bit stiff tomorrow, but go for a walk, loosen up, or redo the practice. Let's inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward, straight back. So as long as you can, straight back. When it starts to pull into the lower back, bend your knees and fold forward. Place your hands down, bring the right leg back, right knee on the floor. And then inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale down. Place both hands down, lift your back knee and come into plank. Knees, chest, chin go down. So your bum is up in the air, and then pull onto your hands. So you can glide through your arms and come into cobra. So your cobra can be very low, or your cobra can be a little bit higher. Don't let the shoulders fall forward. So it's really the lower back working here, and the chest is open. Exhale, coming down. Tucking the toes, press into your hands, and come into your downward facing dog. Inhale, exhale. Lift your right leg up, bring the right foot in between your hands, left knee down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands down, tuck your back toes, lift your knee, and bring your left foot forward. This time, inhale, lengthen your spine, straight legs. Exhale, fold forward, bend your knees, press into your feet. So no work in the spine, or hardly any work in the spine. Lifting up, exhale. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, we're gonna do the same thing, starting with the left this time. Inhale, lengthening out. Exhale, left leg goes back, left knee on the floor. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, down. Tuck your toes, come into plank. Knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. One breath. Next inhale, lift the left leg up, left foot between your hands, right knee down. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, tuck your back toes and hop your right foot forward. Inhale, straight spine. Exhale, lower, bend your knees. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale. So that's one sun salutation. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, long spine. So we always start in the same way. Exhale, right leg go back. Come onto your toes. Knee is remaining high here. And then slowly start to lift. So if your balance is off, you can drop your knee. Press your heel back, maybe come a little bit deeper. So eventually your thigh will be parallel with the floor. And then inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, release. So press your heel back, activate your leg this time. And then bring the hands in front of the heart. We're going for a twist, so lengthening the upper back. Exhale, twist to the left. Right elbow on the outside of your left knee, and then twist a little bit further. So elbows are in line, the thumb in front of the sternum, of the breastbone. That's the intention. If this is too far, you're gonna place your right hand on your left thigh and your left hand in the back, and you're just gonna do a rotation like this. So wherever you are, exhale, bring the hands down, come into your plank. If you want to do a reverse push-up, so chaturanga, make sure the eye of your elbow is pointing forward, and then hover, and then roll over your toes. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's lift the right leg up. Bring the right foot between the hands. This time, left knee remains lifted. Press your heel away and come up. So you always want to make sure that your hips are facing the short side of your mat, and then come a little bit deeper. And then lift your arms up. So again, if you need more stability, drop your left knee on the floor. You can do the same thing. And then exhale, bring the hands in front of the heart and start to rotate towards the right. Left elbow on the outside of the right knee, palms on top of each other. Press into your right knee and the knee into the elbow, and then start to open up. Two more breaths here. And then exhale, release this time. Bring the left foot forward. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale. So just taking a little break. We're going to work a little bit with the shoulders. So just roll the shoulders a few times. Maybe also move the wrist if you need to. Moving the other way. And then lifting the arms up, bending the right elbow, walking your right hand in the center of your spine. You can press with your left hand onto your right elbow. Make sure your legs are straight and strong. Watch out for that lower back not to curve too much, so your head is not moving forward. It has some space to move. If you want to go further, reach your left arm out. Turn the palm to the back. So that's going to move your shoulder forward and create more space so that maybe you can reach your fingertips together. If you're far off, take a strap, or if you don't have a strap, just stay here. Just make sure your right shoulder is moving back and down. So opening in the shoulders here. And then reach up, open up. Lifting up, bend your left elbow, press it down. And this can be enough. So your armpits are very open here. And then reach the right arm out, turn the palm to the back by rolling the whole shoulder. And then see if you can touch. So one side can be very different than the other. If you can actually interlace your hands, or if you have a strap, pull the top arm down with the lower arm. And then slowly release. Bring the arms to the side and just making big movements. So if you go from the side, I'm rounding and I'm bringing back. So I'm really working with my spine here, almost a cat and cow. The wave is in my spine. My knees are moving with the movement. You can do whatever feels good for you. You can add your head. And then release. So we're slowly going to go down to the floor. If you have a strap, put it close by. Separate your feet wider than your hips. So when we talk about hip width, we talk about the hip bone here in the front. We don't talk about the wrapping around. So if I would say bring your feet hip distance apart, my hip bone is here and it's a straight line going down. A little bit wider than the hips is maybe the width of the wrapping, and then wider is a little bit wider. Toes are pointing out here. Place your hands onto your hips, roll the shoulders back, elbows back. So you want to keep that downward facing dog spine here, so long spine. And then slowly start to bend your knees. The knees have to go towards the toes, so maybe adjust the toes if needed and coming all the way down. If your heels don't touch the floor, I suggest you do this every day for a couple of minutes and you'll find a lot of comfort. Place your hands for now onto the floor and we're gonna roll from one foot to the other. So my right foot stays on the floor, my left heel is lifted and I have a bit more weight into my left hand. And then just moving from side to side. So releasing in the hips, but at the same time, you can press the knee and the hip from the foot that's flat on the floor a little bit more to the back to open up a little bit more. And then coming back to center. Open, lengthen your arms and bring them on the inside of your legs. And then from here, start to press with your arms into your legs. See if you can lengthen your spine a little bit more. If you're falling back because you're not comfortable on your heels, place a little blanket under your heels. So something soft. I wouldn't suggest something hard, something soft, so that every day as you practice, you can lower and lower and lower and eventually be here. So very good also to open the ankles. And then bring the palms together and maybe press even a little bit more into the leg. So watch out that the point of your elbow is not pressing onto your knee cartilage. It's all very fragile, and the elbow is a strong, strong bone. Breathe. How much am I relaxed in my hips? Am I holding a lot here? Can I let go? And if you fall back, it's okay. Take it as a game. It's fun. So just letting go, sink into those hips a little bit more. And then release. Place the hands onto the back. Bring your feet a little bit more forward, your hands in the back. So you want to keep your spine straight, but not too stiff here. So separate your feet so that when I'm dropping my knees towards the right, my left knee is behind my right heel. And your left bum can lift. You're going to press down, maybe lift your chest up a little bit, maybe press into your hands. Press your hips away from the floor. So press them towards the right. Your chest is probably opening here as well, especially the left side. And then coming back. And then going to the other side. So same thing. Knee behind the heel, press into your hands, open your chest, roll the shoulder back. And then just move between the two a few times, just releasing here into the hips. And then coming back to center. So we're going to slowly go down, roll the shoulders back, lengthen the spine, hands are behind the thighs here. So just stay here for a moment, lengthen a little bit more into your spine. Feel how you activate the belly here, the abdominals. Are you just pressing everything together, or can you just bring the belly button in a little bit and then lift it up so that your chest is lifting, your shoulders are dropping down, shoulder blades are going down, your spine is long, your neck is long, your chin might slightly be tilted. So observe and explore especially. So if I'm just tucking in, I'm just working in my belly. If I tuck in slightly and then lift up these are different abdominal muscles. So you want to explore everything. And then slowly start to roll one vertebrae at a time onto the floor. Bring the knees into the chest and gently roll from side to side, if that feels good for you. We're going to inhale, lift the head, lift the shoulders, bring the knees a bit closer, really rounding the spine. So giving a good stretch to our spine by rounding it. And then coming back. Let's lengthen the left leg onto the floor. And then grab your strap if you have one. If you don't have one, you're going to work with your knee. So first one, if you don't have a strap, you're going to just lift your leg up. Your left leg is active. If you have a strap, you can hold on to the strap, but don't go too high. So we don't want to round the back here. We want the shoulders and the elbows to be very relaxed. So press your heel away. It's possible you're way lower. If your hamstrings are tight, you're probably here. Press your heel away. The strap is there to support you. So don't pull, don't hold your leg with the strap. See if you can stretch out and at the same time release in the hamstrings. And then take the strap into your right hand and start to open the leg towards the right. So if you don't have a strap, two options. You can bend your knee and place your hand onto your knee and open up. Left hand in both cases is onto your left hip bone. So you don't want to roll to the side. You want to keep the hips open. Your foot is flexed. If you have a bit more flexibility, you can bring your peace fingers around your big toe and then go like this. But your legs should be straight then. So choose what is accessible for you today. And then inhale, coming back, placing the strap into the other hand, just going over a little bit. So the bum is still on the floor. Open the arm to the side, feeling that strange stretch on the outside of your right leg. And then bring the leg all the way over to the left. So keep your shoulders on the floor, opening the chest here. So if your leg is floating somewhere, that's fine. If you don't have a strap, again, you can do with your peace fingers or bending the knees and holding on to the right knee with your left hand. And then with your next inhale, coming back up, release the strap and bring the leg all the way down. Bring the left knee in, strap around the left foot or hold on or stretch out the leg towards the sky. But so if you don't have the strap, you really want to have the leg straight. So maybe you want to bring your hands behind, but don't hold with your hands. It's really about finding that length into your leg. And then place your right hand onto your right hip bone and start to open up to the side, whether with the strap with your peace fingers or with the knee bent and holding with your left hand. And then coming back to center, just passing the strap into your right hand, leg just over your center, just for a couple of breaths. Inhale, releasing that strange sensation. And then bring the leg all the way over to the right, opening the left arm in a T, keeping the left shoulder onto the floor. Twist in the spine, opening in the chest. Lots of things happening in this pose. And then coming back to center, releasing the strap, and slowly bring the leg all the way down. And we are ready for Shavasana. I have many more things, but it's okay. So release your feet a little bit, just move them from side to side, movements coming from the hips. So let the legs be loose, really be loose here. And then let your feet flop out. Take a breath in. Maybe you need to adjust your shoulders so that your chest can be open, no force. And then bring the arms in Shavasana arms. So palms facing up. If your chin is facing really up to the ceiling, you might want to place your hands behind your head and pull the skin of your skull away from you so that your chin is going to come down a little bit without closing of your breathing. So just be mindful. It should feel more comfortable, or you can also place a blanket under your head and your neck, never under your shoulder. And then allow yourself to feel where the body is touching the floor and just observing. Am I pushing down with my body into the floor, or is the floor supporting me? As you start to release into your body, the support of the floor becomes important. And just know it's always there. You also want to start to relax the front of your body, your legs, the muscles, your hips, your belly, your chest. Exhale, your shoulders. Relax your forehead and your jaw. As if the skin of your face is falling towards the floor, relaxing. You can stay here as long as you want, you need, you can. If you're ready to come out, take a breath in, not too forceful, just reconnecting with the breath. And then an exhale through the mouth, letting go. And move your toes and your fingers, maybe your wrist, your ankles, your nose, making some faces. Gently rolling the head from side to side if that's accessible. And then bring the legs together, taking a deep breath in and stretch yourself out, stretch your arms overhead. Lengthen out, maybe wiggle a little bit into your body. And then exhale, bring the knees into the chest. Gently roll over to the right side or the left side. And then coming into a comfortable seated position. Closing the eyes or keeping them half closed, whatever is comfortable, focusing on a point that doesn't move. Bring the hands in front of the heart or palm on top of each other, on top of your heart, whatever feels good for you. And for a moment, maybe observe your hips. Do they feel lighter, or maybe you don't notice anything? That's okay. Gently tuck the chin. Wishing you a wonderful day. Namaste.